America is officially in the pits. Florida is debating whether to lift child labor laws due to a job shortage due to all of the migrants that they have rounded up and shipped out of Florida. There are things like child labor laws put into place to protect children from being overworked and to provide safety for children working jobs that they should not be working on. This bill would allow workers as young as 14 years old to work overnight shifts, even on school nights, because there is a job shortage in Florida right now. It just can't be what people voted for. This can't be what you thought. Yes, this is going to be for me. He's making the country great again, to allow children to work overnight. Because what kind of overnight jobs are there? Amazon, factory workers, stock rooms, children as young as 14?
So, let me get this straight. The US is facing labor shortages because they deported a bunch of immigrants, and now their solution is to have 14-year-old kids work overnight shifts. Like, make it make sense. Hello guys, welcome back to Trending Pulse Worldwide. I hope you're all doing great and having a fantastic day. First of all, if you're new, you're welcome to my channel, and kindly consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the trending topics. Today's topic is wild. Well, some states are trying to loosen child labor laws so that teens as young as 14 can take on the jobs that were previously done by adults, specifically immigrants who are deported. We are talking overnight shifts, fewer restrictions, and basically pushing kids into the workforce to fill a labor gap. And people online have a lot to say about this, so let's get into it.
The state of Florida is considering loosening child labor laws because they can't fill jobs because they're scaring away all the undocumented immigrants. The proposal would allow children to work earlier than 6:30 in the morning and later than 11 p.m. at night. It would also allow 14-year-olds to work night shifts even on school days. It would also end guaranteed meal breaks for 16 to 17-year-olds. This is obviously due to both state and federal efforts to scare away immigrants in the state of Florida. It's almost like immigrants are necessary for the economy. This, my friends, is F around and find out.
So Florida has fucked around, and now they're finding out. And you know who's paying the price? Children. Due to the mass deportations in Florida, Florida is experiencing a major labor shortage, and in order to combat this, they are relaxing child labor laws. Not only are they relaxing child labor laws, but they're also introducing a bill that would allow companies to pay less than minimum wage. SB 918 would relax child labor laws and would allow children as young as 14 to start working overnight shifts. Now, while introducing SB 918 is bad enough and would allow children to work overnight shifts even during the week on school days, they are also introducing HB 1225. And what this does is it allows organizations and corporations to offer apprenticeship roles or internships, which would allow people to accept less than minimum wage for the job. So not only is Florida using child labor to fill this labor shortage, they're also putting in place laws and regulations to allow corporations to take advantage of the situation and to pay less than minimum wage for that labor.
Man, this is crazy. And you've got people on one side saying, well, this will teach kids responsibility. And others are like, why are we putting 14-year-old kids to work instead of fixing the actual problem? And in states like Florida, lawmakers are proposing bills that would remove limits on how many hours 14 and 15-year-olds can work, including night shifts on school days. Let me repeat that, school days. That means a kid could be working until 3 a.m. and then trying to stay awake in class the next morning. Crazy, right? Let's check out more reactions.
What Republicans are doing across state houses and in the federal government, I think, is really trying to undo everything FDR did. Child labor laws, Social Security, other social safety nets. They don't want OSHA anymore. They don't care about workplace safety. They basically don't care about pretty much anybody but themselves. What do you think? Let kids in high school work overnight shifts during the school week? Doesn't seem to be good for me.
This is some news and information that you definitely need to use throughout your day. Florida is actually debating lifting child labor laws to fill jobs vacated by undocumented immigrants. So for years, they've been cracking down on employers that hire undocumented workers But that's actually presented a problem for a lot of these businesses. Now they don't have enough people to actually fill the jobs, and so they're desperate for people to fill those jobs. So your loving, kind Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis has said that he and the state legislature have a potential solution: children. So the state's legislature is actually set to debate a bill today that is going to loosen child labor laws, allowing children as young as 14 years old to work overnight shifts. And if the new law is passed, teenagers would be able to work overnight jobs on school days. They are currently prevented from working earlier than 6:30 or later than 11 p.m. per state law. He's also supportive of the law and has been vocal of cracking down on immigration, actually echoing DJT and his rhetoric. However, economists have warned that this could backfire, sparking further inflation and labor shortages. And so he's saying, why do we say we need to import foreigners, even import them illegally, when, teenagers used to work at these resorts? College students should be able to do this stuff. They are doing it. It's still not enough.
The crazy part is, this isn't just happening in one place. At least 28 states have introduced bills to loosen child labor protections, and 12 have already passed them. That's not a coincidence. And let's not forget, some of these industries have already been caught violating child labor laws, making kids work in dangerous conditions. Like, remember last year when a major meat packing company got fined for illegally hiring kids to clean razor-sharp equipment in the middle of the night? Yeah, this is real. And now they want to legally allow kids to work on these types of jobs. And you might say it's the farms and it's not something dangerous, but we are speaking of a 14-year-old child working in the farms at night. There's definitely a big problem.
So these 14-year-old kids who cannot drive cars, okay, they don't have a driver's license, they can work 14-hour shifts even on school nights because they're homeschooled or go to an online school. Yeah, I can't imagine what issues could possibly come up by putting 14-year-olds to work with grown adult people in overnight shifts when the kids have no transportation and no way to leave. That does not at all sound dangerous. So some kids did go up, I guess, to testify against this. And they were like, yeah, no, thank you. Like, this is a really bad idea. Like, even the children get it.
Okay, so let's break it down. The U.S. agricultural sector is worth over $12 billion, and it runs largely on immigrant labor, people willing to take on tough, physically demanding jobs that most Americans don't want. But because of recent crackdowns on undocumented workers, businesses are struggling to fill those positions, and some states are seeing only 53 available workers for every 100 job openings. That's a huge gap. And rather than fixing immigration policies or offering better wages, lawmakers are like, hey, what if we just let kids do it instead? You can't make this up. And the Fair Labor Standards Act sets federal laws for child labor, but individual states can make their own laws. That means in some places, kids might have more protections, but in others, they could be put in really tough working conditions with barely any oversight. And let's be honest, how many 14-year-old kids are choosing to do this? Because if you ask me, a kid should be in school, not breaking their back in a field or a factory overnight just so businesses can keep wages low. But hey, maybe I'm tripping. What do you all think? But real talk, I get that labor shortages are a real issue, but putting kids in these roles instead of fixing immigration or offering fair wages, that's just a band-aid solution that does more harm than good. Anyway, like I always say, this is just my take. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Drop your thoughts and let's talk about it. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more real talk on what's happening in the world. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.